So I will start with a common regular procedure of like within a engineering company, busy company that it's big enough to have this, let's say, standardized. All right.
Right.
So this will be a typical piping stress analysis workflow within a company. All right.
Yeah.
So and allow me to begin with before getting to this point when it says beginning or the start point. There's a lot of things that needed to be done up to this point, such as like getting information from PNIDs, lists of equipment, line list, basically plot plans, everything. But
Yeah.
let's say once you get to that point, you when you're working in, let's say, medium, large, mega projects in size, all
Yeah.
right, you tend to use this 3D model tools, all right, software. In this case, we're particularly speaking about SmartPlan 3D, all right,
Yeah.
and but there are other softwares. Okay, so the main idea is like, okay, you have your 3D model, and then you have to since we're focused on stress analysis, you would say, okay, I need to do a stress analysis. So how do I in a very like superficial kind of way, you start with your 3D model, all right, or with
Yeah.
isometrics, all right, and either you have like two or several ways to do so, but two main ways. One is direct transfer from the 3D model, all right.
Right.
That's what we want. That's why we're here. And then you will have your typical procedure of manual transfer from ISOs or the 3D model. When I say manually, you use basically will have your 3D model, and you might be like measuring and inputting information manually in Caesar 2, for example. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that, you get a 3D, like you get your own stress model, which is in 3D, but it's your stress model in Caesar 2, right? And then, okay, after you have that and check a lot of information, input information and selection of load cases, like and other variables, all right, you get to do what is important, which is the stress analysis. In fact, you get to analyze that, you get results, and you could say, okay, this is good, this is not good,
Yeah.
right? And upon this, you would say, okay, are the results under allowables? Like, okay, is it under allowable values? Like, I don't know, stress levels, like nozzle loads, displacement, loads on like load ratings, all this stuff under strains. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's two ways to it. That one, if it's no, okay, you start. So it's an important thing to mention that we try to always maximize the design that is coming from the design team, right? Like you always try to solve the problems with the problem with supports, or maybe playing with stiffnesses, whatever. But it is important to always try to maximize the use of the original design,
What do
unless
you mean by that? That the designers already put in the support basically
yeah,
for stress
so you
engineers?
try
Yeah.
to. Sorry, can you repeat? I'm sorry.
So basically, the designers or piping designers already put everything in place as like they estimate would be a good routing and a good support layout, and then
Yes,
the
yes. So
stressors
that's what I'm
verify.
saying. So yeah, so they would like do it would vary upon experience, of course, right? But they would like do a job that from their perspective it's correct, and what we're doing basically is just assessing or validating that design from the stress point of view, right? Like from the
Yeah.
mechanical integrity point of view. So what I'm saying this is like, okay, we always try to maximize the use of that original design, unless the thing is like crazy, or your results are really bad, or
Yeah.
really bad, right? Or it's not working. So let's imagine you need to introduce some changes to the design, right?
Right.
And then you get a new design. This new design could be something small, or it's something that could be significant. It will vary upon the case, right? And then you propose a new design. So you have a new design and say, okay, this I have this in my Caesar 2 that says it works, right?
Mm.
Then you gotta go to this, let's say I will call it debate, like negotiation with the designer, because you might have a point of view that might work for you, but not necessarily work for the plant. Like I don't know, it could
Right.
be
Right.
Yeah, it could be, for example, like you're basically in a different elevation and you have a valve there, and you were assuming like, okay, from the stress point of view is good, but the designer might tell you, all right, but that valve needs to be accessible to for
Exactly. Yeah.
maintenance or for operation or whatever. So that's also a thing you gain upon experience, but it's always to have this, interaction with the designers. And let's say, okay, your proposal is good enough, and then you say, okay, the designer agreed to, and he will include your changes in the 3D model, right, basically.
Mm,
And then when you have that, and we will go back that to the first point, like right in the right corner, to say, okay, are the results under the allowables? Then the answer is yes. What you basically do is like, then you basically start your support modeling. You either, like, if you're in the capability of doing it yourself, you could do it yourself, or in your company the designers are the one in charge to do so, they will do it.
yeah.
But ultimately that will be one of the final steps in this whole process. And then when that, you have two more outcomes to that. That will be one, like producing piping stress reports. That's the deliverable on your scope.
Yeah.
And then, yes, and then in the other hand, you will have, yeah, the design team is informed about it, and then it's the design is approved. All right, there are other disciplines involved, and then basically the designer or whoever is in charge, they will produce the isometrics, and the end, would say, product will be the ISOs for construction. Then
Yeah.
that will be within the engineering phase of it, right?
Yeah. So that is like uh, it sounds utopian to only have one set
Yeah.
of ISOs being made, right?
Yes, yes. Well, it will depend on how the company operates, right? Like, I would say I've worked in companies where you don't actually issue an ISO until it's final, until the
Till the very end. Yeah. Yeah.
very last. And then I would also work in other places where you, it's like a constant motion of it, and then you would like, and it's a machine that never stops. Yet you will be receiving changes, and it's really interesting with this new model business this day. I would say that is really challenging, because now, I don't know, there might be some model businesses where you're like almost working in parallel with process team and other like
Yeah.
disciplines that are important, that in the past basically you would have a lot of information that will be settled, and actually decrease the amount of changes within it. but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah,
just a question for related to this slide is like the negotiation phase, as you mention it, and
yeah.
basically going back and forth between pipe design and pipe stress. Like what would that look like in practice? Is that like a daily thing? People sitting behind these desks, like next to each other.
Yeah,
What is
so
your experience in that?
it will vary upon whatever setting the company might have, right? Like, you would be working remotely, for example, you will be working on the same building, you will be working like sitting next to each other, to 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 the very end of, you even have tools to basically, either you could go to a software and basically like publish some sort of string version of your design, and that could be built into the 3D model, and they could assess that
Hmm.
upon your current situation, or upon your whatever specific situation you might have. My personal recommendation, though, since this is all focused on like improvement and based on, being more productive and anything, I would say like, the best way to do so, if you have the opportunity now with technology these days, is just to like just call the guy or the girl and basically
Yeah. So
explain the
but
situation.
what I'm understanding is like it's not like a meeting a week type of
No,
setting,
I
batching
mean,
all the changes.
depend on your setting. Yes, it could be on a daily basis. Yeah, like,
Yeah. Exactly.
depend on your the amount of production you're handling. But typically, going back a little to it, typically I would recommend to be like, okay, you could even like send email like with this print screen. You can have your marked up isometrics, like your stress marked up isometrics. with dimensions on it and what you have on your mind. And then it is always good to that, like, the idea, whatever is in the software and the idea do you have, like, will be like fully implemented or implemented good enough for the thing to work.